Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say what's up to everybody, and I hope you're doing good. I am tripping right now because I just read this crazy story about Shawn Kemp. Shawn Kemp is a former NBA star who apparently has gotten into some gangster stuff. At the age of 53, he's still allegedly, according to police, involved in the thug life. And there were a few things I had to kind of say about that because I think it's a really interesting scenario. So just to kind of give you the update as you come into the chat, Shawn Kemp, who was an NBA All-Star with the Seattle SuperSonics for many, many years, has been arrested. Shawn Kemp, he's a six-time NBA All-Star who was arrested in connection with a drive-by shooting that took place in Tacoma, Washington. It says here, SuperSonics legend Shawn Kemp was booked into the Pierce County Jail on Wednesday. Kemp was booked into jail in connection with a drive-by shooting outside the Tacoma Mall. Let's see. The shooting call came into police just before 2 p.m. Shots were fired from a passing vehicle in the parking lot on the northeast side of the mall near the Courtesy Tire store. So Kemp is in trouble, in very big trouble. And I'm going to just tell you the truth. I can't say this really surprises me because Shawn Kemp has always had some issues, and a lot of them had to do with drugs and things like that. And when you see something like an NBA All-Star getting arrested, it's already pretty sad, right? It's sad, and because it's not as if these crimes, if they were occurred, it's not as if these crimes occurred because the person was desperate for money or they had to feed their kids or they were just stuck in the trap and trying to get out. These crimes occur because people make bad choices. They end up in bad situations. And so with Shawn Kemp, what's interesting is that I remember years ago when I was at the University of Kentucky, back when Kemp had just become an NBA star and he was just taking off and really doing, great things as an athlete. I remember that I was tutoring this really tall, very rich white man. I used to tutor in order to make money while I was in college. And this man that I tutored said he worked with Shawn Kemp. He said he represented him or something like that. And anyway, one of the things that he said was, this kind of surprised me, is he said that, we had trouble with him because we couldn't get him off the dope, that he just got wrapped up in drugs and we couldn't get him away from it. And that caused them to really kind of struggle. And eventually, I think he said they dropped him, they stopped working with him or something like that. So, so this kind of thing is, it was probably expected by a lot of people. In fact, he has been arrested for drugs before, if I'm not mistaken. I got to double check that just to be sure. According to the story on Shawn Kemp, they said that he was a six-time NBA All-Star. He played from 89 to 97 for Seattle and helped the Sonics reach the NBA Finals in 1996. He was arrested in 2005 for an investigation in drug possession, in 2006 for another drug investigation in Texas. Since his retirement from professional basketball, Kemp has pursued multiple local business opportunities, banking on his Sonics career. He and his business partners are operating two locations in Seattle of Shawn Kemp's Cannabis. The opening of the Belltown location marked the first Black-owned marijuana dispensary in Seattle. Kemp was also an owner of Oscar's Kitchen, a sports bar in Lower Queen. And in 2022, Kemp was part of the campaign to bring an NBA franchise back to Seattle, telling The Athletic that he would not stop until the city got the actual Sonics back. So it looks like Kemp was not a terrible guy. It just looks like there's a chance, possibly, assuming that these arrests have some validity to them, that he made a mistake. Now, do me a favor. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes if you can hear me okay. So what I'm talking about today is former NBA star Shawn Kemp was just arrested in connection with a drive-by shooting. And now this, obviously, you have to remember that innocent till proven guilty is very important to keep in mind. It doesn't mean that he did it, right? Being arrested doesn't mean you committed the crime. There's been plenty of Black men who've been falsely accused. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say this happened with Shawn Kemp because I looked up Shawn Kemp's career. And one of the things about Kemp that's really interesting to me is he reminds me of like a worse version of what happened with Antoine Walker. And these stories bother me because every time you see an athlete who goes broke, what you're seeing is you're not seeing the loss of Shawn Kemp. Written 10 million. They actually both lost $1 billion. They lost $1 billion because if you understand compound interest, does everybody understand compound interest and what that means? Compound interest means that your money is like a seed. Your money grows. That's why they call it seed capital. So your money grows like a seed. All the formulas that we learned on how money grows in my PhD program were designed from biology. That means money grows just like you grow a seed or you grow a flower. So if you have a tiny little seed, that plant is not going to stay tiny. If you plant it and you water it, then and you feed it properly, it's going to grow into it could go into a gigantic sycamore tree. So your money does the same thing. If a man makes $100 million in the course of his career, pay attention now. When you make $100 million in the course of your career, you literally, if you are smart with that money, your grandkids could be sitting on $1 billion. Your great grandkids could be sitting on a call 2, 3, 4, 5 billion. Your great grandkids that you never met could end up never having to work. You go and you buy 1,000 acres of land and put the money in a trust and have that money growing with the stock market over the next 50 years. Your great grandkids never have to work. So when you see that kind of money being lost, when you see a brother blow through 91 million, or you see Antoine blow through 100 million, I need y'all to really see the vision. A lot of wealth comes down to having vision. Visionaries become wealthy people. People that can see things that are not there yet are the ones who become wealthy. Those who can see further down the road, those who are playing chess, not checkers. Those are the visionaries. Those are the ones who can see several moves down the board. So what I'm saying to you is that a person that gets a lot of money, who engages in small-minded, trap-level thinking, will not only lose all their money, but they're going to lose every opportunity that ever comes. And so when I see an NBA player lose $100 million, it infuriates me because they did not lose $100 million. They lost $1 billion. And they didn't just ruin their life. They ruined the lives of all the people behind them that were going to benefit from that big opportunity that they got. So let's stop acting like Black people don't get opportunities. It doesn't mean every Black person gets the opportunity. And comedians and athletes get opportunities with the rest of us. We know these things. But let's stop acting like every single time Black people lose all our wealth, that it's because a white man ran up and took the money from us. No, sometimes it's culture. Economics is culture. And this is heavy on my mind because I'm actually headed to Los Angeles tomorrow for the Black Wealth Boot Camp. And we're gonna do a deep dive. I literally went page by page, paragraph by paragraph through my book. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And I said, I don't just want to write this book. I want to train people on the principles in this book because there are basic, simple rules that any family can apply if they want to have wealth that exceeds, any white person that you know. It's not hard to do, but you got to have the right mindset. Mindset is everything. Do you understand what I'm saying? So Shawn Kemp, the former NBA player who just got arrested for the drive-by shooting, I knew 30 years ago that Shawn Kemp had a mindset that was anti-wealth. I just knew this. This was because I tutored this big, tall white guy. He had a lot of money. I didn't have any money in college. I was broke. I was just a young hustler on the grind. I had no money in my pocket. It wasn't saving me. Wasn't nobody taking care of me. Wasn't nobody paying no bills up in my house. I had to figure out how to make money. So the way I made money was I said, okay, maybe I can use my brain and make a couple of dollars. So I put up little flyers across the University of Kentucky campus saying, I'll tutor you, in math if you need help. So this older rich guy, white guy, very tall, about 7 feet tall. I remember him telling me he was 7 feet tall. I would tutor this 45-year-old man, and he was going back to school after he'd made some money. And that was when I learned about Shawn Kemp and what Shawn Kemp's problems were. And by the way, some of you are asking where you can get the book. You can get the book either on Amazon or you can get it on my website. My website is boycewatkins.com. Also on my website, there's something called a $5 investment that I am absolutely begging anybody with a child to do for your kids. All you got to do, very basic, auto deposit $35 a week into your account into some sort of S&P 500 index fund that's buying stock in the top 500 companies in America, like VOO, that's the Vanguard S&P 500 index fund, and then never sell those stocks. And then if you do what I say, your child will be able to retire at the age of 30. What kind of gift? How much of a gift? I mean, some parents give their kids toys. Toys don't last for shit. Some parents give their kids, big birthday parties. That don't mean hardly nothing. But imagine if you could give your child a gift that says you will retire at the age of 30. Can you imagine how grateful they would be? How grateful would you be to your parents if they set you up back in the 1980s and 1990s so you could retire by the age of 30? You can do that for your kids. And I'm telling you, it's very basic. It's on my website. I'm making it available to everybody. So feel free to go to my website, boycewatkins.com, so you can get a copy of the book if you want to. You can join the Black Wealth Bootcamp. I'm going to be doing that in Los Angeles this weekend. And literally in the boot camp, we're doing a deep dive into the book, every single page, every single inch of this book. I'm not just getting people, I'm not putting it out there so you can buy it. You don't even have to read it. I will read it to you. I will read it for you. I will break down every principle for you. There is nothing that we need to be the most economically intelligent people in the world, because everybody says they love money. I love money, want money, get money, dog. Got to get money. Look at how much money I got. Well, if you're always talking about money, then you should be learning about money. You should be spending all your time learning about money. Now, somebody says, can IULs do the same? Index universal life policies? Kind of, sort of. Index universal life policies, the ones I've seen, typically have the benefit that they don't go below zero, but every time you receive something, you're giving something up. So the fact that you can never lose money also means that there's a cap. There must be a cap, because the insurance companies are not in the business of giving money away. So they're not going to let you just have unlimited gains and limited losses. If they limit your losses and they absorb the losses, then they're also going to absorb the gains. So that's the challenge with the index universal life. But it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just I don't use it, but I've seen other people who have. It's better than nothing. Let's just say that it's better than nothing. So anyway, with Shawn Kemp, here's what I kind of see with this thing, right? So I hope he's not guilty. I wouldn't be surprised if he was, but I hope he's not. They said in connection with, that doesn't mean he was actually out pulling triggers and squeezing on people, but it could mean that he's connected some way, somehow. I know Shawn Kemp has a history of being involved with drugs. That's documented. It's not me making this up. I first found out about it when the tall white guy that I used to tutor, the tall, rich white guy, he told me he used to work for him, or he was an agent for him, or his company represented him. But I could tell the guy had a lot of money. He had a lot more money than I did. I remember him telling me about Shawn Kemp and the drug issue. I hope it's not true. And it's interesting because it also made me think about what's going on with Ja Morant at the Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant is another guy who's going to throw away $1 billion if he doesn't quit playing around. This dude, again, it's this bad, toxic culture. They put this stupid culture out here on your kids. You went through the crack era in the 1980s where they dumped crack cocaine on your community, but they didn't just dump the drugs on you. They dumped the trauma on you. They dumped the ignorance on you. They dumped the family destruction on you. They dumped multiple generations of pain, dysfunction, violence, and death onto the Black community. They dropped a Holocaust on you unlike anything that the world has ever seen. So what I'm saying to you is that as Black people, in my view, we should have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to drugs. I have no idea how a Black person can know anything about the history of Black people and what they have done to you and be okay with people promoting drugs in the music. If you promote drugs to my kids, I want to punch you in your face. I want to kick you in your jaw. I want to stab you in your neck. I'm not going to do it, of course. I'm not advocating violence. I'm not telling anybody to do this, but I'm telling you, when you're doing this kind of thing and you're stealing the minds of our kids, you're stealing their souls out of their bodies. Man, this is just crazy. So ultimately, when I think about Kemp and I think about Ja, I think about drugs, alcohol, I think about bad culture, I think about bad choices. And I also think about the fact that sometimes we get trapped in the curse of low expectations. We stop having standards for ourselves. So we end up thinking that because Ja Morant is an NBA player, that anybody who critiques and says, hey man, you need to stop that, like you're going to lose a lot of wealth. Like, oh, get your hand out of that man's pocket. Oh, you stop hating on that man. Stop. Anybody who talks like that, you're basically too ignorant to even be here. Like, you shouldn't even be in this conversation. I don't even know why people like that even stop by to just act stupid, because that's the kind of mindset that we've got to confront. If you don't ever respect yourselves enough to stand up and just say, look, enough is enough. This is not cool. This is not Black. This is very anti-Black behavior. If you can't speak on that, then you might as well just go ahead and call yourself a white supremacist. Go ahead and just hand the keys to your life over to the white man. Just go ahead and submit. Just bow, shuck and jive and buck dance and get your butter biscuits and call it a day. Because if we have to have standards, Black people. So when I see somebody blowing opportunity after opportunity, it just kind of makes me sad. And I speak on these issues because I need y'all to understand what's being lost here when a Black man loses everything and then then people, we just laugh about it, or we just act like that's par for the course. So then we just say, oh, it's because of racism. No, it's not. I watched there was a show on BET called Blue the Bag, and I watched Blue the Bag, and I watched this guy who had like six babies mamas, and so he had a bunch of kids everywhere, and he won the lottery. He lucked out and won the lottery. See, they say we don't get lucky, we don't get blessed, or the only reason people have more money than us is because they got lucky and somebody gave them whatever. Well, guess what? He got lucky. He won the lottery, and he won like a couple $1 million. You know what he did? He imitated culture. He imitated the culture in media. He went and he rented out the entire floor at the most expensive hotel in Las Vegas. He brought in liquor, weed, and pills and strippers and blew the money like within 2 weeks. And he bought cars, he bought all kinds of stuff. And he's sitting on this show laughing because he blew the bag. And BET is making this into entertainment. They're making Black dysfunction something that we all know about and celebrate, right? So this guy's sitting there laughing, and I'm sitting there thinking, I kind of want to slap you right now because I want to slap you on behalf of your children. Your children need a lawyer to protect them from the predator called their daddy. Their daddy is right now is as pathetic as they come, because now your daughter's going to be out here 20 years from now sleeping with some fat, ugly man because she can't pay the rent. Your son's going to be out here getting locked up, taking penitentiary chances, risking getting shot in the head over a dope deal because his daddy did not make a plan for him. Your kids going to be out here in the struggle with the white man's foot on their neck, working jobs that they hate, stressed out, depressed, unhappy, miserable, broke, struggling, all up in the trap, because when daddy had the keys to get the daddy took the keys and threw them in the water, threw them in the ocean. So I want y'all just to remember, I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'll say it 1,000 times more. Poor stands for what? Poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. I know some people who are born poor and kind of get stuck in tough situations and can't get out no matter what, who are putting all the effort in to get there, and that's fine. But then there are some people where even if you gave them $1 million, they will still find their way back to poverty, because we still don't quite understand that poverty really is a mindset. That being broke really is a mindset. And the truth is that sometimes it's hard to break out of a mindset. That's where things like therapy come into play. That's why my wife and I in the Black Business School started the first ever Black financial therapy department, because you need specific therapy to deal with the financial toxicity or the financial dysfunction that is passed through Black families from generation to generation, where a poverty mindset cripples you to the point where somebody could walk up to your doorstep with a reparations check and a bonus 10 million, and you'll still end up broke at the end of the year. Tell me if you know what I'm saying. Give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying. It is a damn mindset. It is a mindset. It is a mindset. It is a mindset. If you don't believe me, look at how many times you've had NBA players who literally made $100 million who ended up with nothing. Allen Iverson could have created 100,000 jobs in the hood and $1 billion corporation, but instead Iverson, no disrespect to Iverson, but I gotta be honest here, Iverson wanted to be like the thugs he saw on TV. He was imitating culture that is mass marketed to Black people, not accidentally. It is mass marketed intentionally, because when they mass marketed NASA to little white boys, they all wanted to become engineers. Where in the 1960s, when they were looking up to Buzz Aldrin and all the other guys going to the moon, every single white boy wanted to copy that. They all wanted to go to school to study engineering so they could all go to the moon just like their heroes. So the same thing happens with you. When they mass market a drug dealing rapper and make you think that lifestyle is the lit lifestyle, that's what you want to be when you grow up, guess what? You have 1 million Black boys imitating what they're seeing on TV, what they're seeing in the media. This is why I'm begging. I do not have contact with Byron Allen. I do not have contact with Tyler Perry, but I'm begging them. If you buy BET, don't fuck it up. Please don't fuck it up. I understand you got to make your money, and I support you. I hope you make another $10 billion. But understand that there are some things in the Black community that are more valuable than money, that are more valuable than your bottom line, that are more valuable than you making a profit this quarter. You have $1 trillion asset that you have a direct ability to impact and influence. You have $1 trillion asset called our children, called our future, that is partly in your hands. And so I don't have what they have. I don't have the billions of dollars. I don't have the gigantic network. I don't have any of these things, but I do have a platform that reaches 1 million Black people a week that I built with my bare hands by getting on here making 20,000 videos over the course of a 13-year period to try to share my PhD in finance with as many people as possible. And in this space, you know what my goal is? Every single day I get up and I say, how can I help change the culture? How can I share a message that is direct enough, that is clear enough, that is convincing enough and persuasive enough that I can get millions of Black families to look at their kids and say, damn it, you are my multi-million-dollar asset, and I'm not going to fuck it up. I'm going to make sure that no matter how much I know, no matter where I'm at, no matter where I came from, no matter what I went through, I'm going to pass something to you that's going to help you get out the trap, that's going to give you the determination necessary that you will never, ever believe that your entire fate, that your entire reality, that your access to happiness, wealth, peace, and prosperity is dependent upon whether a white man decides to give you an opportunity. No, I don't care if the white man is against you, fighting you, trying to stop you, standing in the way of everything you do. If you really believe in what you want, if you're really convinced and persuaded to get up every day and pick up a book, if you really want something good for your family, you can find that. You have to believe that. If you stop believing, then you won't grow. You won't ever have anything good. You'll always remain in the trap. And what you won't understand, unfortunately, is many of us don't get the fact that many times we hold the keys to the jail cell in which we live. We hold those keys. We have the key and we lock it every day. We lock ourselves in and we think somebody else did it. Well, you've been trained like the fleas. You know how they train the fleas? Well, they put the lid on the jar and the fleas keep trying to bounce out and then the fleas can't get out. And then when they take the lid off, the fleas still stay inside the jar. Well, we're the fleas. We are the fleas. For hundreds of years, they have put the lid on the jar. They blocked you from being able to read, write, do math. They blocked you from being able to build businesses. They blocked you from being able to even take care of your kids. They've done these things. These things are true. This is documented. This is real. That's why they owe us $15.4 trillion in reparations. But now the lid ain't really there. The lid's not there like it used to be. I know that they make slave movies every year to remind you that you're still in the trap, but let's be real. I've never met a white man who stopped me from reading a book. I've never met a white man who told me I can't take care of my kids. I've never met a white man who told me I can't start a business. I've never met a white man who told me I can't love my wife. I've never met a white man who said I gotta eat greasy fast food every day until I die from diabetes, strokes, and heart attacks at an early age. I never met a white man who made me do any of those things. So ultimately, a lot of times, what we have to conquer is what is in here. This is why I learned through my journey that the number one thing that Black people need more than anything is probably therapists. We need an army of Black therapists to help us overcome post-traumatic slave disorder so we will stop blowing our opportunities and start getting to creating opportunities and taking advantage of those opportunities. So shout out, good luck to Shawn Kemp. I hope that this works out for him. I hope that this does not end up with him getting many years in prison. I would not be surprised if it did, but that's life, whatever. Ja Morant is 23. He plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's still young enough to fix it if he's not so stupid that he doesn't listen to older people who are trying to help him out. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I have no idea. But I know at the end of the day, all I care about is I care about Shawn, I care about Ja, but I care more about you. And I just want you to understand that the time that you're here, this is your chance. This is your opportunity. We got to do something good. We got to do something right, because what we do is going to impact our kids, whether we act or not. If you sit still, that's going to impact your children. If you make a move, that's going to impact your children. So what is your choice? What are you going to do? Make that decision today. Okay. So I'm going to go, guys. My wife is waiting on me. I'm going to be flying to LA for the Black Wealth Boot Camp. We'll be there on the 10th and the 11th. If you'd like to join us, feel free to go to boycewatkins.com. Also, my book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You guys have been buying it in droves. I want to say thank you so much for picking up copies. If you get a copy, I don't care if you get it on my website or on Amazon. To be honest, Amazon does take a big cut, but I don't really care. I just want people to read it. So all I ask is if you get it off Amazon, please leave a comment so that people will know what to expect. The comments have been very good so far. The reviews have been very high. So I think this is one of my best pieces of work, and I'm really, really proud of it. And I wanted to create something that would help you. So anyway, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And in addition to that, on my website, there's other free resources and trainings and stuff like that. So feel free to check that out and stuff for your kids, all that good stuff. All right. So have a good night, everybody. I will check in with you again later. And I will see you soon. Take care now. Peace.